All right. Well,
Yeah. It was
still
good though.
fun. I mean, it's good. You guys got a warm up match.
Yeah, we're gonna do
For
it again next Tuesday. So
good,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Hey guys, what's going on? Good morning. It's Brent Abel here, WebTennis.com. Another episode of What's the Right Shot? Question mark.
Oh no,
I don't know. Sometimes we unintentionally hit a shot that wasn't the right shot,
wasn't the right.
and sometimes
I,
we intentionally hit the shot that wasn't the right shot.
right. I did a few of those yesterday.
I see. Anyway, what we got today? Excuse me. Talk about phlegm. Wow. Maybe it was me before.
Maybe. There's the subject matter.
Yeah, it might have been me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
We
know.
won't go. We won't go there.
Thank you. Good. I see that you've got the phlegm buster right there as well.
Yeah, just good old water.
um, Number 446. We're closing in like a downhill freight train, Jeff, on number 450.
Yeah.
Wasn't that long ago we were at 400. And by the way, ironically, today we've got a video sample from 400 that
Mm.
we're going to get into, meaning that everyone's seen this sample before, but we're to talk about something different. Yesterday we talked about, let me get this up on the screen. And there she is. We talked yesterday about the need for instant. Would help if I got the video started. Um, hey, Rich. Good morning.
Morning, Rich.
There we go. But the need for having an instant prep.
Ah,
There he is, folks.
I know that guy.
Yeah. And today I want to talk about something else, Jeff. And I did my afternoon session on the Tennis Mindset Project yesterday. Short little video just talking about how, as the point builds, as we get deeper into the point, it seems that we tend to start to swing faster
Mm.
because we are, well, we're looking for the exit either because we want to hit a bigger ball. We don't trust that we can stay in the point. Um, Meaning that we just think the longer we stay in the point, that guy over there is going to somehow find a way. And
Yeah.
so we tend to start going, and look, I've got no no hard data on this, but I just think from my own experience back in the day when I was feeling that level of anxiety kind of build throughout the point, that I was more and more looking for the exit, and in times really not a good opportunity, or there really wasn't a low risk offensive opportunity presented.
Right.
So I think what happens is we tend to swing a little bit quicker, looking for either please don't touch the ball over there or unforced error. And I think it gets past that point where it's sustainable for us in
Right.
terms of being able to control the ball. So what I want to do today is, yesterday we talked about getting out there and practice this instant prep. So the other thing I want to practice is, that's going to be number one on my list today when I go out there in the grass at 9 a.m. with the big O.
Nice.
And I think we're done with the 80s. I think it's 90 plus here now till
Done.
the end of time, which will be sometime in mid-October, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just what's that swing speed that we can find, and it's unique to each of us.
Right.
And let's just talk about the forehand, for example. What's a swing speed that we can find that we could actually repeat? We could consciously repeat in a point, until we get a real fat, juicy opportunity. And when we get the fat, juicy opportunity, that does not necessarily mean, okay, now we can just swing for the fences.
Right.
So let's put it on a scale of 1 to 5, Jeff, where 1 swing speed is a complete and utter push, and 5 is that swing speed that we ding it once every 48 times, and it stays in. So we're looking more for, can we discover what our number 4, maybe 3.5 to 4
Three and a
is?
half.
3.5, that as the point builds, can we find that swing speed? Can
Right.
we actually make it tangible? Can we have a reference for, okay, here it is. This is a longer point where that real low risk offensive opportunity has not presented itself yet. Can we keep our stress level down to where we don't let that anxiety overtake the swing speed?
Right.
And so I think you need to go, guys, you need to go out there today and you need to tinker with this and you need to find out what is that swing speed for you. Look, for Jeff, it's different. For me, it's different. For you, it's different. And whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You just got to find what it is that you can do that produces a high quality ball, that you feel that you could just hit over and over and over
Right.
again. So, for example, like on my backhand, on my slice backhand under spin, I mean, I know exactly what the swing speed is. I know how to manufacture it, especially when I don't have any kind of offensive opportunity. If the point goes into, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever.
Right.
So, what are your
I think
thoughts on that?
I think the big like the big connection here is, again, swing speed, ball landing in, and you feel like you controlled it. And can you, is it repeatable and then sustainable, right? So what is that swing speed that you feel you can put 99 balls out of 100 in over and over and over and over and over again, right? So that becomes your baseline, right? And if you feel like that's too low, then maybe we have a tech issue, right? If you're at the, let's say 0 to 10 instead of 0 to 5. If 0 to 10, I probably live, and most players I would say live in the 60 to 65% range constantly. That swing speed, that's where we live, because that's a ball that I can control. Now, the pace that I'm hitting the ball is different for everybody, right? What is that pace? But that's a pace that I know on my scale, on my throttle, I live in about that 60 to 65% range. And I feel like I can roll balls and hit it flat, and I can do this all day, right? And so for the player out there who's like who escalates like this, up and down, up and down, up and down, you've got to figure out what ball is it that you can hit over and over and over again that lands. And we're not talking about pushing a ball here. We're talking about a ball that penetrates the court. Let's say lands consistently halfway between the service line and the baseline. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a ball, a ball that is play approved. It's a ball that you can play with, right? So is that your natural swing speed, and where does it land in the court? Does it land that deep consistently? And so those are the details, I think, that become your foundational play. Right. So if we're not there yet, then we got some work to do to be able to first get to there. Then we can start tinkering with, well, can I go a little heavier as my natural,
Yeah. I think if you go back to yesterday's episode about the benefits of an instant racket prep, is what you find is that what we see here with Jeff is that you turn the shoulders, and now you actually have a moment here where you can wait. We used that word yesterday. And because if you draw the ball in at the same speed in terms of prepping, the same speed as the incoming ball, if your timing is not dead perfect, you got a problem. And I think too often what happens is, if you're late with the prep, we tend to then have to rush the swing speed.
Yeah.
And that's where we have more mistakes, of just having to rush the swing speed to get to that unique contact point, as opposed to actually playing the ball back, too late in the contact area.
Right.
So what I
Right. I
would do
think
is,
the
I think yesterday, I mean, to segue on what we worked on yesterday,
Mhm.
absolutely continue to work on that instant racket prep. And from there, then you can start to tinker with, I'm going on a scale of 5, you're going on a scale of 10, that's fine,
Yeah.
whatever works. But find that swing speed that you feel really comfortable with, and then
Yeah.
see what's a little bit too fast, where someone says, okay, you're at a Jeff scale, you're at a 6.5. Let's try a 7.5. And
Yeah.
if you try a 7.5, and the next thing you know is, wait a minute, whoa, I'm hitting half as many balls in, and I just
Right.
don't feel confident doing it. Then, like you said, Jeff, start with the baseline, and over the course of the next month, just start to go a little bit, a little bit,
A
a
little
little
bit.
bit, and you'll get more
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah. And the other part of that too is one, if your lag time in prep is to time your prep to the speed of the incoming ball, your feet are never actually working to create the spacing correctly. They're not working yet. They don't work correctly, naturally correctly, until you've actually prepped. Then then you're athletically moving your feet and creating your spacing. It's happening kind of on autopilot because you've taken care of the first most primary detail, and that's shoulder turn racket prep, right? So if you're finding too that when you naturally up the scale and you can't quite control the ball, you need to find another partner who hits a little bit bigger ball than you're comfortable with, and then can you keep up? That's all you'd want to ask yourself to do first, is just, okay, how fast do I have to prep in order to keep up with this player that I'm hitting with right now? And that will help drive your scale up a little bit at a time, right? So if you hit with somebody who hits a little softer than normal, so you can work on early prep and just see how much, oh my gosh, I got days of time here while I'm waiting, right? Oh, that's horrible, right? That's always a funny complaint to me. People say, I've got too much time. Really? Right? So that's
Yeah.
always funny to me. And then somebody that hits about the same pace as you, okay, can you then be prepped so early in that you actually feel like you're ahead of what's going on, even though this is a contemporary, right? Somebody that hits equal to you that you used to maybe not be able to keep, 6 out of 10 balls in, right? And then drive to the next level and go, can I keep up? And not by hitting harder, but just by getting good racket prep. How long can I stay in a rally when I'm hitting with somebody who hits a slightly bigger ball than I'm used to?
Yeah, the other nuance with this in terms of swing speed is that you just mentioned, now if you go out there and you find someone who hits a bigger ball than what you normally play against, the ball's coming in faster. It's going to at contact, it's going to at contact kind of compress against your string bed
Right.
even more. And the more the ball compresses, the more it explodes off your racket. So on a slow incoming ball, what's that swing speed that you can allow? And look, how many players say, "Oh, I just love it when I get pace." Okay, the reason you love it when you get pace is because there's less for you to do in
Right.
terms of swing speed. You could actually have a little less swing speed and borrow that compression
Right.
of the ball against your string bed. Thank you to your opponent. But if you and so find out what that swing speed is. Again,
Right.
using Jeff's scale of 1 to 10, everything being normal. If he's playing within a 6.5 to 7, maybe on a big ball, the swing speed's 5. It
Yeah.
it it could be less because you don't need it. So depending on the speed of the incoming ball, depending too, I think, on, are you picking the ball up on the rise? Um, which to me, that moment right off the bounce is when the ball seems to have the most speed,
Right.
is and the most ability to kind of embed itself into your racket, compress into your string bed. Now maybe you've got a couple of different swing speeds that you can manufacture depending on the
Right.
type of ball that's coming in.
Yeah. That's the scale too. And I'd say this back to the ball that that slower incoming ball. You can and you can think when you're playing a match too. You know, I'm always looking at like, does this guy generate his own pace well? I know I can give him pace, but can he generate his own well? So I might lay in there two standard rally balls, maybe up the ante a little bit on the pace just to see this guy. Oh, rhythm, he likes that, blah blah blah, and then throw in like a full court cut, right, where the ball hits and checks up and doesn't move through the strike zone immediately. And then I like, okay, so the guy kind of over cranks. He sees it in his own mind as something he should be able to just knock off the court, and inevitably he over cranks, overplays it. Okay, that's good data to know about my opponent, but are you that guy, right? And then we have to do that self-discovery, right? Am I that guy that I see this nothing ball after cranking 2 or 3? Now you're all kind of wind up, you're screwed in kind of tight. And then do you overplay the softball that comes in because you think that this is easy, or however your mind, works it. But that is one of the most difficult balls, I think. After you've hit 2 or 3 or 4 heavy pace balls, can you seamlessly transition to a slower pace ball that's coming in? And maybe you need to back off a hair and just roll it back into the court and
Yeah,
kind of go,
a
wait a
little
second.
bit,
It's
a
like,
little higher trajectory, a little higher
Yeah.
quality spin.
Until you can figure out how to seamlessly transition to that slower incoming ball and actually take advantage of it. But I think it's a false read by a lot of players thinking this hanging ball is just, low hanging fruit. Sorry.
Yeah,
Not
yeah. But
so.
I
Not
also
so.
think too is if you get that later in the point, is too often we go, okay, well, this is the time I got to do it now, because if I don't do it now, I probably am not going to get a better opportunity. And so to me, this is mostly mental.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at someone's swing technique in general, it's pretty good, not too bad. There aren't a whole lot of really major flaws to it, especially if you do what we talked about yesterday, which is really work on instant racket prep. And if you do that, that cleans up so much stuff. It's
Right.
unbelievable. And once you get that, then I think you can really start to feel confident that as the point builds, you don't have this anxiety level that goes first shot's here, next shot's here, next shot's here in terms of the anxiety level. And by the time you get into the fourth hit of the point, it's just off the chart and you're going, whatever the guy gives me, I'm just going for it, because I don't think I can stay in the point long enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's again, like if you're not, that's that falls into the category of awareness, right? And so as you're building a player, you have to be coaching them along the way to be aware of their own engine, their own throttle, their volume control, right? And so being able to scale up and bring control with you is a delicate balance, because then as you start to drive pace, there's a point where where you drop a little bit of control, but not enough to give it up yet. And then there's a point where I'm driving, and the control part really falls off the map. And so do you know where that is for you as the individual player? And I think there's a lot lost in translation as players spend way too much time, as we've talked about a million times, spending so much time trying to win the point. They're not actually executing technically sound stroke production, ball after ball after ball after ball, circling right back to yesterday's video of, if you're not practicing your prep, if it's not part of your daily routine when you walk out to the court and in your warm-up, reminding yourself and just paying attention to it for 3, 4, 5 minutes of your warm-up, you're not moving the meter in your own development. That's something that you have to, every day you have to touch it and be aware of it.
Susanna says, I do all of that, Jeff. Is there a difference between hitting harder pace, accelerating, and swing speed?
Is there a difference between hitting harder pace, accelerating, and swing speed? So this is where it can get a little again, awareness, right? So swing speed, we know that we want the racket accelerating, right? We want the racket moving from a slower pace to a higher pace as we make contact with the ball, right? We don't want the racket de-accelerating through the ball. So this becomes interesting when we might move from a drive to a high roller, right? So in the high roller, I may not be swinging as hard, but I might be imparting a little more spin. So that still requires racket head speed. But is it accelerating as the same rate as my drive? It actually might be accelerating more because I'm trying to create a little bit more head speed to create a little more spin. So here's a silly example, right? I got a VW bus and I got a Ferrari, and they're on the quarter-mile starting line, and the green light goes, and they both put their, the guys put their foot to the floor, and off they go for the quarter mile. We know the Ferrari is going to cross the finish line first, and it's accelerating as it crosses that finish line. Okay, a couple seconds later, or a half a minute later, the VW bus crosses that finish line too. But guess what? It's also accelerating through the finish line. It's just accelerating at a slower rate. So both are accelerating, just not at the same rate. So can you tinker with this and understand that hitting a short little topspin roller, I'm still accelerating the racket through the ball because that's where I'm going to control the spin, the pace, and the location of the ball landing. But it's just not accelerating as the same pace as a heavy topspin ball from the backcourt or a heavy drive, a flat drive from the baseline. So hope that makes sense. That there is a nuance to swing speed. It's not the same, but they are both accelerating.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why you got to get out there, guys, and you got to tinker with being aware of your own unique swing speed. And don't need to compare it to anybody else. Just get out there and, hit some balls right up the middle, hit some balls cross court, hit some balls up the line, whatever, or up well inside the line. But come up with a drill and ask your practice partner to, let's just hit at, between 60 and 70% power. Let's put it that way, power. And now you've got a slow enough incoming ball, medium pace ball, that you can actually feel what's your swing speed. You can actually feel, what are you doing? Right. And if you're all over the map in terms of, oh my God, that was really slow. Oh my, that was really fast.
Right.
A lot of it's because you're not doing what we talked about yesterday. You're not getting into such an instant racket prep position that you could control swing speed. So all I can tell you is there's not a formula that works for everybody. So you have to get out and do this. You got to tinker. You got to find your own unique swing speed. And if you do this often enough, if you do this drill often enough, you're going to start to settle into, oh, I know what it is now. Now, if they get into a really long point where I'm not getting offensive opportunities, I can control my swing speed. I can stay in this point. And I just think, Jeff, that if you do that, you have a lot less stress within the point, which means that you're not burning fuel. I mean, the brain just burns so much unneeded fuel in a point because that's just what we do as humans.
Right. Yeah.
And so if you can start to control your swing speed, I think what you'll find is that you're going to win more points. You're going to have less unforced errors, and you're going to burn a whole lot less fuel. And gosh darn it, you're going to win a gold ball by Friday.
Guaranteed.
That's kind of my thinking on it.
Guaranteed.
So, all right. I got to scoot. I got to get ready. Well, Jeff, good stuff today. Guys, look, hope this has been helpful. If so, click the like button on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and click that notification bell. Always notified anytime I go live and or upload new content. And yeah, scoot on over to WebTennis.com if you've not done this yet. Pick up my free 20-minute course that describes the 4 step-by-step between points routine that helps you stay like Zen master between points,
Hmm.
so that when you start the point, you've got this beautiful feeling of, I can control my life.
Right.
Thank you. Yes.
All is right in the universe.
Right. Good. All right, guys. Rich, if we didn't say so, good morning to you as well.
Morning, Rich.
Guys, thanks for hanging out today. Jeff, always good stuff. As always, thank you. Guys, any comments, any more comments down below in the comments area, let us know. Love to read those and respond. And then if you want to keep the conversation private, shoot an email to either myself, Brent at WebTennis.com. Jeff is over at Jeff at Jacklich365.com. Love to hear from you that way as well. It's time we got to get out there. We've got to help someone else have a spectacular day. Guys, see you again next time.